actor. We didn't see ourselves in bands, we didn't see ourselves in books, we hardly saw ourselves in any of the higher echelons of society. So the book was real. Having done my research, I went back as far as into Egypt, and I thought this is something that I could actually write about. We all need to make a start and bring about a change. And the wonderful thing is the feedback I get that this book is long overdue, and these are from adults. So the whole idea is to give adults and children access, particularly the adults, because they're the ones who's got to pay for the book, you know, to give them access to books that they would have loved to read when they were a child growing up. And so this is really far-reaching. It's the beginning of my journey, but a lot of authors are coming on board, and we're trying to work with schools and the libraries to get these books out so that everybody, if you can't afford a copy, please go to your local library. Manchester has 12 to 15 libraries, and they have got a copy, and arts, you know, so that will help to support the work so that we can have more children's books being produced. So yeah, well, we just talk about, and it's also something about inclusivity. So I'm just going to read to you briefly because I know time, and you know, I don't want to take over too much of the time. So stories reflect the way we understand life and help us to construct our future stories and help us to construct our future. Stories are what lies at the heart of every culture. All cultures around the world have stories. We have song, we have art, we have music, we have dance, and we have religion. And some of the research shows, particularly the scholastics, because our research really, it's not a lot, but a lot's been written in the sociological terms around identity. But the scholastics kids, they had a report in 2019, and it has been identified from about the age of 3 months old. Babies enjoy positive stories. Stories can make us feel good about ourselves. It gives us great confidence, and it passes on values. And I also felt that when I was doing my research, that because we've adopted European values, that was also affecting us in the way sometimes our children progress through life, and we struggle with that because that culture is not really our own. And if you look around us, most people of all of the areas, they have their own cultures intact. And really, we are now sort of for the past few decades, when I was a young woman, we've identified that some of our children lag behind in their academic attainment, and one of those big factors through research has been shown has been due to cultural identity. So when you're not confident about yourself, you're easily distracted, you know. People get involved in all sorts of activities that may not be desirable for their future well-being. Yeah, okay then, so I'm going to leave it from there, and I've got some books for sale here, and if you do want to get in touch with me, but please do. Okay, I also do workshops and presentations in school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is our own special Enid Blyton. We've got our own. Did anybody read Enid Blyton when you were younger? The Enchanted Tree? Get Dolly May. Get Dolly May. You see yourself climbing up that far away place. Thank you. Right, also, if anybody wants a list of how to get in touch with people, there'll be one on any of the stalls. Just ask them for a list of how to get in touch with anybody that's spoken today. Okay, and now I'm going to invite somebody else that's going to speak to you about how important it is to give that message as a youth that you are important, to make the children feel empowered, to make them know that they are worthy of anything that they want to be. So, and I'm just going to put in a little advertisement also for Bright Eyes Nursery, because all 3 of my children have gone to that nursery as well. So these are nurseries that work within our communities to enhance our communities as well, in and around them. They're able to give what's the word? An experience that makes them confident for themselves. So, without further ado, I'm going to invite Claire Cummins from Over the Rainbow Nursery.
So I'm just going to read and let you know a little bit about embracing childhood. So I'm just going to read from here, so I probably won't be looking at much, but so hi all, my name's Claire and I'm happy to be here today with you all and to have the opportunity to share a little bit of my story. So the topic was embracing childhood. So I was born in Hume and I lived in Moss Side and Musholme throughout my whole childhood. During my teenage and early adult years, I lived in many areas within Manchester, but my most significant experiences and memories are from my childhood growing up and living in Moss Side and Musholme. So as a little girl, I remember going to Moss Side Precinct. Don't know if anyone else remembers Moss Side Precinct. So that's one of my fondest memories, going to Moss Side Precinct with my mum and my family. This is my mum here. I remember the toy shop that sold the plastic toys in the plastic packaging that I wanted so much. I remember the broken biscuit shop, I'm sure you remember that scene, where you could buy bags full of broken custard creams, bourbons, malted milk biscuits. I remember Moss Side swimming baths that had the lockers and the vending machines that sold hot chocolate. I remember Moss Side Library with the massive cartoon drawings on the walls of the children area. But most of all, I remember a place called the Parent Centre. The Parent Centre for me, through a child's eyes, through my eyes, was a safety hub. To me, the Parent Centre felt warm, welcoming and relaxed. It was easy, it was like we belonged. But most of all, my mum was happy there. Little did I know that the memory of the Parent Centre would stick with me for life. You see, it's proven that our brains are much more sensitive to experience in the first few years of life than in later years. The plasticity of the brain underlies much of the learning that occurs during this period, particularly in the first few years of life, where more than 1 million new neural connections are formed every second. So from birth to the age of 5, a child's brain develops more than at any time in their life. And early brain development has a lasting impact on the child's ability to learn and succeed in life. The quality of a child's experiences in the first few years of life, positive or negative, help shape how their brain develops. So fast forward to Claire as an adult. I knew that I wanted to open my own nursery, and I knew why I wanted to open my own nursery. I just didn't know how. I thought, I'm from Moss Side, I don't have a degree, I've never been to university, I don't have parents with money to invest in my dreams, I don't know how to run a business. I was scared, I was unsure, but what I did know was that I had experience in childcare, I had confidence, I had a family who believed in me more than I believed in myself. I had passion, I had a vision, I had faith, and I had a killer work ethic. Feel the fear and do it anyway, I said to myself. Deep breath, ask and believe. And so, I did, and I do. So in January 2021, I opened Over the Rainbow Daycare, a place that is a safety hub, a place that is warm, welcoming and relaxed, a place where children are cared for, a place where children can create memories and have positive life experiences, a place full of culture and hope, a place that offers opportunities, a place where children can be their authentic self, a place where children can thrive and be confident, a place where parents can leave their children knowing that they are happy, safe and secure, a place that feels like the Parent Centre felt to me as a child, a place called Over the Rainbow Daycare. Faith, ask, believe, receive. I learned to embrace my childhood and use what I had and what I can offer from my own experiences to make a positive change for the future, for the most important things that matter the most for the children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is Over the Rainbow Daycare, and I'm sure you've all watched The Wizard of Oz, yeah? So you all know about the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow? It's right there. Okay? Right. Next, I'm going to invite Gabriel to come and do some more spoken word for you and touch your soul a little bit more before we open up to the next section.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I just want to say well done for hosting this event and bringing it all together. I think it's very inspiring. Big round of applause for Elizabeth. Yes, I do poetry. I'm a poet. I'm also a youth worker in Ardwick. My poetry is inspired by kind of my experiences as a youth worker in the area, as well as living in the community for 20 or so years. And this poem I'm going to share was inspired by a conversation I had with a young person on the streets, actually, of Ardwick. So I had a conversation with my younger, and he was telling me why he's trapping, explaining why he plunders, explaining why he's bagging up the weed and the crack at his mum's. He stated his reasons for. He told me daddy's not here, and I'm tired of seeing mommy struggle for the things she's pleading for. Poverty's the reason I fear no law. I don't care if I get caught. I can ride a sentence like Ghost in Power, season 4. Now I can understand his frame of mind. How his environment got him thinking he needs to play the underhand game with life, because success to him is only being illustrated in films like Paid in Full, Top Boy, or Rolling with the Nines. They're classic films, but they only tell partly truths, glorifying that kind of life. From our position, it was clear the seeds had been sown, and consequently, the weeds had grown. If I could rewind time and speak to the 6-year-old within him, I tell him he has the power to change the world. I tell him he has the world in the palm of his hands. I tell him to open a book and read, because knowledge is power. When you expand your mind is freed. But I'm dealing with a 16-year-old that stands before me, and he didn't have those opportunities and interplay of complex dilemmas all found within such communities. He only had one set of role models. Talking about the beginnings and the ends, with the food and the bends, trouble. Now he's weighing up the bricks on the scales. I told my younger, you need to weigh up the risk if you fell. Because they say this is a big rich town and we just come from the poorest part, or forgetting education. The streets will have you thinking to succeed, you need the coldest heart. What angers him is that he sees the inequality that sets him and the rich apart. So if all people are created equal, why did every prequel have the intended star? But I ain't the jury, neither am I Judy, so I'm never gonna judge one. But what if brothers from the ends had options beyond one? See, the only concept of money we've been taught is working a 9 to 5 for minimum wage, and in the capitalist system that equates to a working slave, and that don't seem too appealing. If you can sell drugs, you can own a business, same hustle, just different products you're dealing. I told my younger, you could be an author, a teacher, an entrepreneur, a scientist, an engineer, I can list many more, but stop selling yourself short and stop being conformed to the hand we've been dealt with. I once heard this quote, and I felt it. It said, regardless of any system meant to oppress me, God designed me to win. So I said the same to my younger, I know the devil's on your shoulder, but the God within you is greater than him. My younger replies, I hear that, G. But I can't leave the hustle or the streets, as temptation has the sweetest voices. I look him dead in his eye and reply, King, I know you're shaped by your circumstances, but you're liberated by your choices. Thank you. Just to plug myself quickly, I run a poetry night in Manchester, across the city in different venues. Our next one is on the 28th of April in Northern Court. I do have some flyers that I'll give out. But yeah, if you're interested in spoken word and poetry, just come and have a chat to me.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. You see why he's called Gabriel? Yes. Okay. Now, that was so touching, so touching. Literally, air moved away from my hand. It was like, you're good. Yeah? So, this is what today is about. We're about uplifting, empowering ourselves, and igniting that light within you all that may not be lit yet. Although most of you here are on fire. So, next, I'm going to invite a special lady that has gone through so much in her lifetime, and she's about to share with you some of the things that you can do to help yourself see things brighter. So can people give a big hand to Miss Pauline Omobeo? Omoboye, I have to pronounce that correct because sound is power. So, Mrs. Omoboye.
Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I want to say how proud I am to be able to be here today, and thank you for coming out and listening to what we've got to say. I don't usually give a big introduction because I think my work actually talks for itself. It'll tell my story, but it also tells the story of my children. I'm proud to say that 3 of them are here today. 2 of them are talking. We came from a humble background. We give our all when it came to our life. We have got worth ethic, and we knew, even when they were telling us different, we can do what we do. This is a poem I wrote for my youngest son, who, by the way, is not here. He looks after his little boys. He's a Muay Thai fighter, and he's also coach for Team GB with his sport. You can do it. This is what they had to put up with before they could proceed. He only has to put 1 foot outside, as natural as can be, going about his private business, just some mates he wants to see. When just around the corner he waits and ready to pounce, it's a local unfriendly policeman, quite eager to announce. Come on now, lad, where you going? Give us your name, what's your address? I'm only stopping you to protect you before you get yourself in a mess. It's obvious you're looking for trouble. I can tell by the colour of your skin and the clothes that you're wearing. You obviously don't fit in. You're one of the local troublemakers who swipe that smirk right off your face. I'll show you my authority. I'll put you right back in your place. I can make your life a misery. Call my mates, put you inside. Now stand up, look up, pay attention. I'll ensure you lose your pride. I'll make your life a misery. It's not to me you've done nothing wrong. I couldn't give a monkey's, oops, a Freudian slip of the tongue. I know you're piling for trouble. It's a noticed statistical fact. And it's proven it's because your colour skin is black. Oh, you don't even seem to have a record. I've just radioed to base. It's obvious we've not had a chance to put you back in your place. But what's your black? What's your black? I lie in waiting. Just step 1 foot out of line, and I'll make sure I get you for every relevant local crime. It's really quite a pity. Not even back-checked. The code of conduct you must know. But what's your back? You know I'm looking, at least of all when you suspect. I'll be waiting round the corner with that nigger fishing net. Thank you. I know we haven't got plenty of time here. We spoke a bit about our being and what it's like for us in this world. There are many stories that are not told for various reasons, but I'm proud to stand up and say, I'll tell you mine. My childhood, tarnished by a man, uncle was his name, domestic violence in the midst, our childhood not the same. I knew some things were different, and I could tell something wasn't right, as we heard the shouts and screams echo through the night. echo through the night. My brother would protect us and usher us to bed. We hid the facts within our homes, kept nestled in our head. But with the odds all stacked against us, we know how to survive. My mum gave us genuine love and kept our family alive. My parents, they worked tirelessly, providing a roof over our heads, clean clothes and food on the table. Some of the rest is best unsaid. I called him, not uncle. I knew how to fight inside. I hid the facts from my parents, too afraid to confide. At 18, I had my firstborn. At 21, my second child. My relationship was difficult. My memory of him were filed. Bear with me. Child holding the mic with blue sticks. My children, I would protect them, so history wouldn't repeat. But I'm sorry to say, with 4 children, my husband he would beat. But safe at last my children thrived. I found my self-esteem. I fought so hard I held on tight, took hold on my dreams. Then almost as if by magic, fast forward, my life presented. A loving mother holding tight, some things could not be prevented. Now my eldest, he had started to stray. He ventured with others. I didn't know what I could say, so I spoke to other mothers. But the gangs held their influence. Too deep, my son entwined. My heart broken and shattered, left a deep gash in my mind. With all the odds stacked against us, I nurtured and protected. My eldest son, gone, it hurt. He was already truly infected. Unknown to me, he lived another life, involving dishonesty and crime. I tried my best to sway him, to make him toy the lamb, but too far gone for me to grasp him. He was well and truly caught. I cried myself to sleep at night, my son I vowed to sort. With one son out of the picture, his absence made a well. Deep down inside we struggled and survived and lived in hell. Now with the lads and the odds all stacked against us, I had child number 4. I knew our lives would not be easy, but we saw an open door. My other kids had ambition, a future, also dreams, but he stole our happiness, told us right between the seams. So my son got into a fight. His eyes, what he lost. He didn't see the danger, or my heartache, or what it cost. So, fresh off the press, see. Our family then splintered, the effect was widespread. Just imagine being a mother, thinking your child could end up dead. Just take a look around me, my son has found the truth. He has left behind his troubles and cast aside his youth. So with all the odds stacked against us, it's not without a fight. I can finally say there's no more tears and I sleep at night. Mummy, can you tell me something true? Is there something special about me and you? Or are we like Martians who come from space? Why do people stare at me in disgrace? My hair is combed, my clothes are smart, my teeth are sparkling white, my shoes they shine, the school bag's mine, and my trousers are not too tight. So Mummy, can you tell me something? Can I ask you true? Is there really something special about me and you? And I said, son, listen carefully. You're perfect and you're bright. The only thing that you don't have is a colour of skin that's white. That's why sometimes they think you're different, but the facts are clear and true. Being black is beautiful, like perfect little.
Thank you so much.
I produced a couple of books, and I've got a new one coming out this year, and it's aimed at adults and children, and it's going to be called And No One Heard Her Cries. Look out for it. Thank you.
I shall be promoting that book at every single one of my events as well, because that to me is the voice of a generation that we all look up to. We all come from that generation. That is the voice of all of our mothers speaking to us, okay? And it may be our voices too one day, okay? So that was just beautiful. My heart, I'm trying to hold these tears. Well, I'm going to bring now her son and the person responsible for us putting on this amazing event as well, so Mark Bracewell.
Hello everybody. I know I'm not a rapper. Okay, so that was me in that poem that I was reading about. Because of the choices that I made growing up around here, in and around Manchester, obviously my life, as we know, certain things happened in these areas, and I ended up in the middle of it all. And as you said, I lost my eye because of it one day, you know? But from then, things have changed, you know? I finally discovered who I was and who I was meant to be and what purpose I had in life, you know? So we formed a company called, me and my wife, called Blinded Faith. And we help disadvantaged children. It started out just myself doing mentoring, one-to-one mentoring with children who were making wrong choices and just trying to guide them in the right direction and trying to get them to realise that their choices have consequences, you know, and it's what do they want that to be? Do they want it to be good or do they want it to be bad? But ultimately the choices that they make are going to affect them for the rest of their lives. So it started out with me in my car, travelling all around the country, working with kids, so travelling to other countries, even to, it's only Wales, but there was kids in Wales and stuff, you know? And it was working, and people started cutting onto it, local authorities started getting hold of it, and they'd asked me to work with more and more and more and more kids. So at the moment now we work with 4 different local authorities. And from that, one day I got a phone call and they said, we've got a kid and the kid's got nowhere to go. Is there any way you can help us? And in that moment I had nowhere to put this kid, but I did what I always do and said yes. And since then we've housed around about 48 different children. One of the children we've had for 87 weeks, and we're just in the process of registering 2 of our homes with Ofsted and basically becoming official children's homes. So that's just a part of what we do, some of what we do. So we did actually have crisis placements. We have actually got a 24-hour phone number, 0800 number, that kids can phone. Some kids who are phoned who have been kidnapped with counter lines and things like that, and we've managed to find them and get them out and so forth. I've been as far as London, Leicester, Leeds, picking up kids. But unfortunately, because we're now going to be regulated with Ofsted, we can't do the emergency stuff anymore because it's not regulated. But I guess it's our way in, and then once we're in, then obviously we can branch out and do other things. So that's what we do now. I also go into schools and prisons and speak to kids. I've actually spoken to tens of thousands of children. I also do what's called the No Knife Tour. So we go around the country and I don't know if you've ever seen the knife angel that they've made out of all the knives. So I do the tour with that as well, and we go around stuff like that. But I'm going to share with you now what made me do what I do and why I do what I do. Hide and seek. I can never tell you what the back of the little cupboard underneath the stairs looked like, because it was so far back that the light, if any, that was shining from the sunlight inching its way through the window at the top of the stairs could possibly reach. It was then blocked out by my very own figure of a child, as I would often run into the wall banging my forehead as I would race to take cover in my very own air raid shelter, as the bombs and missiles were released upon my mother's body. I would hear her cry for him to stop. As she lay on the ground, Africa stood towering over her. My mum, a blade of grass crushed beneath the stampede of a million wildebeest being hunted for their lives. That blade of grass never stood a chance. That's where it began. Me, as a child, a scared teenager, and a drug-addicted adult would find himself having to build the courage to emerge from underneath the stairs to face the world every time I would seek shelter. You see, I had learned how to keep myself safe from a very young age. As long as I could run as fast as I could, make myself as small as I could, and be in the darkest, tightest place, I would be safe, and no one could find me. I could hide, and if they wanted me, they would have to seek. Growing up in Moss Side, I would often see a herd of wild animals trampling blades of grass. You see, Moss Side was a violent place where the community had been taught it was okay to cut, break, smash, and kill another human being to sort out their problems. Generation upon generation that would have been taught to suppress whilst being oppressed, and not being able to digest as the reflection of their very own treatment of others was due to the treatment they had received themselves. Whether that being that of the master of the field, which seeped deep into the heart of our culture, or just the way they were being treated in a country and system that they would never truly be a part of. Frustration built on a foundation of frustration, cemented with frustration, which was then taken out on their fellow man or woman. The best job you could have on my estate was a drug dealer. It offered flexible hours above the national minimum wage and a free entry into the local gang. The gang would offer you some protection, more than other jobs. Apart from the people in the opposing gang, of course. Pepperell gang versus Gooch gang. The 90s was a messy place in Moss Side, as the two would shoot out daily over the bricks and mortar they would never own. 13 years of age, and having to navigate amongst the fallout of an ever-growing conflict. Drive-by shootings and machete attacks were what we spoke about, as us kids would watch our mentors fall to their deaths one by one. It was funny how me and my friends would feel safer being out at night, as it was easier to blend into the darkness of the entries and alleys, something I was used to as a kid. Sometimes I would just close my eyes and run navigating with my arms held out, as if under the stairs, while I was thinking it doesn't make any difference to the bullets as they flew over our heads. After losing friends and seeing people murdered at a very young age, my heart began to get smaller and tighter. I was becoming deprived from any emotional feeling, numb, deadened and desensitized. Now the problem with becoming desensitized to what was going on at home and on the streets around me was Mark Bracewell was beginning to die. I was slowly but surely losing my innocence. My purity was lost. I was now one of them. I was slowly being sucked into that lie. I could never do better or be better, as I began to suppress whilst becoming an oppressor of the very thing that was oppressing me. Looking into the mirror of circumstance but never seeing a reflection. Not only did I take it out on the world around me, but I also even took to taking it out on myself. With each lick of the crack pipe, I was not only stripping the fibers of my soul, I was also killing any form of relationship I had. You see, nothing else mattered except my heart, as it would take me to the place I was used to living, on the edge, where the adrenaline would tingle the tips of my fingers and my toes. Within my addiction, I would hide until I realized it was God that was seeking me. Hide and seek. I just want to play something as I finish. I don't know why it's not playing. Seconds. I'll just play it from here.
Searching for a purpose, deep down, feeling worthless. We just don't wanna fit in where the right things keep it open. And we're suffering and the secret that we're struggling, 'cause we're all just scared of crumbling. But I'm here to tell my generation this doesn't have to be a reputation. So much more than this humiliation. They say that we're dead, they are mistaken. All of this hate can be overtaken. We're just asleep, needing to be awakened. Seeking approval till it gets brutal. Now that we are, it's so untruthful. Got so much potential, could be monumental. But we'd rather fit in where the right things keep it open. And we're suffering at the secret that we're struggling, 'cause we're all just scared of crumbling. I'm here to tell my generation this doesn't have to be a reputation. There's so much more than this humiliation. They say that we're dead, they are mistaken. All of this hate could be overtaken. We're just asleep, needing to be awakened.
Thank you so much, Mel. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your life with us. And I'm going to let you all digest that. We're going to take a break. Hopefully you will all enjoy the food that Armour Stores have prepared for us. So if you make your way to the back of the hall, there'll be a finger buffet there that you can help yourself to, okay? All right, we'll be starting again in about 10-15 minutes, all right?